Hi there. In this video, I'm putting together a Project Life spread for the week of April 25th through May 1st, 2022. This is the final week for April. So I'm using my Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit. And I'm just storing these kits in these little trays that are boxes from Archer and Olive. And it was kind of a mess there, but I'm just putting them in here so that it's easier to kind of reach all the pieces while I'm working on it, and then I can just slide it in my drawer. And then when I'm done working with the kit, I'm just putting them away. So these kits have repeating elements every month, and I'm using those. So I want to go ahead and lay those out first. So it's this card every month, and then let's see, I'm gonna go through these cards here. This one every month, this one, and I'm not putting them in any particular spot, but just to kind of make sure I get them out here. This one, and then this one. I do like some of these other cards and some of the other 4x6 cards, but those are the ones I want to make sure that I use because I am following the same pattern every month at the end of the month by using those same cards. So for this week, I did have a lot of 3x4 photos. So I have some I already cropped out, some I need to crop down still, and not as many 4x6 photos. So I might end up putting some 3x4 cards and photos into 4x6 pockets. I also had these two 3x4 photos here that I put together onto one 4x6 canvas that will stay inside of a pocket together. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you on fast forward and start cropping out my photos, choosing my cards, and putting together my spread. I think that this one will probably come together pretty quickly because when I work from these Stories by the Month kits, they tend to, because there's just a few options of things to pull from, but we'll see. So as usual, I start by cropping out all of my photos and getting everything ready to lay out on the spread. So as I said in the intro, this does actually end up taking a very short time to put this spread together. I am a fairly slow scrapbooker, and so this spread took me about 45 minutes in real time, but as you can see from the length of this video, it's fairly short. I did cut out some pieces of time, and of course this is sped up, but I cut out pieces where I'm, digging through my stash or something off camera. So I laid out all the photos and the cards that I knew I wanted to include, and then my next step was to pick cards to fill in all of the other pockets. And I'm just kind of looking through my notes here for the week to see if I had enough to include another journaling card or if I wanted to include that quote card. And I do end up going with the journaling card. So I'm just kind of rearranging everything to try to get it to look a way that I like. I like to have a balance between cards and photos and a balance between white or white space and darker colors. So I'm happy with the way that I have everything laid out, and the next step is to choose kind of how I'm going to embellish things. So I pulled over the chipboard pieces from the kit, and I decided to include two of the circles on here, and the chipboard pieces this month went back to having adhesive on them, and they don't punch out very easily, so I had to use my scissors to kind of cut them out because I do like laying them on my spread before I peel the adhesive off. The kit also had those wood veneer flowers in it, but I decided I didn't want to use them on this spread because for something like that, I want to use all of them in one project, and there just wasn't really a space for them. I have real flowers in my photos and didn't want to detract from that with the wood ones, so I'll save them for another project. Those two 3x4 cards right there, I'm putting them in a 4x6 pocket, and you'll see I do a bunch of this the following video that will come out later this week. And when I do that, I just adhere them on a 4x6 piece of white cardstock so that they will fit in a 4x6 pocket. And it just gives me a little flexibility to use more 3x4 cards if that is what I want to do. On this card here, I'm just journaling about my daughter's track meet this week. And that goes with that story right there, or the photo right there of me and my daughter, and the photo of the track meet below it. So I had gone over earlier in the video and I pulled over these 3 embellishments from my stash because I did not like the way that the dark pink word phrase strips went with the kit. I felt like the colors just didn't go with the cards that I picked. So instead I went over to my stash and I found these label stickers, some puffy asterisk and these pink word phrase strips, which I think are from an April Stories by the Month kit from an older year. And I'm just using them over and over to create embellishment clusters on some of my photos, just following the same formula, and that helps the spread come together very quickly. And because I'm using these label stickers, it gives me an opportunity to add a little bit more of the story on these photos. For my title card, I'm using the same formula, but instead of adding words, I'm adding my date stamps onto that word phrase or onto that label sticker. This word phrase strip here was really long, and I decided to just kind of split it above and below the label and then added the asterisk at the top. I'm not following the identical formula for each one, but having a menu of items to pull from really helps the spread come together quickly. These two photos of my daughter and her dog here kind of went together. And so I decided to put them on one 4x6 canvas in Photoshop Elements prior to printing so that they just would be a 4x6 card rather than two 3x4s. This photo of a perfect avocado, which anyone who eats avocados knows that's very rare, is something that I was just super excited to take a photo of and include in my project life. And that's the kind of story that I wouldn't tell if I didn't do project life. And one of the reasons I absolutely love this project and don't see myself quitting it anytime soon. For these two cards that I've been using every single month, I'm using the gratitudes card to tell 5 highlights of positive stories from the month. They could be overall themes or specific events that happen. And then the This Happened card, I'm using more to tell the feelings of the month and kind of the general sense of how the month went for me. So for the highlights there, I picked 5 events that happened or 5 just general ideas. And then here I'm just journaling about how April was full of hope for me. And that's kind of the general feeling I got from it. And I really liked having this opportunity every month to reflect on the month, both in a facts and a feeling sense in my Project Life album. In the past, when I've done weekly Project Life, which is what I've done for a number of years now, I tend to not do reflections on the month as a whole, but just week by week. So I like this switch up this year, and it is something that I'm happy to continue throughout the entire album, or 2 albums actually, by the time I finish the year. For this Moments card, I'm using each stripe to tell a different little bullet point story from the week. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you know I like to have a catch-all card like this to just include those little stories from the week. They don't need their own journaling card, or maybe don't even have a photo to go with them, but just things that of note that I want to remember. And I'm using my Zig dot marker to add bullet points. This card came in the kit. It has a some days and a most days prompt. So I thought that that was a fun way to kind of tell the story of some things right now that I do some days and some things that I do most days. There wasn't really a ton of space for journaling, so I ended up kind of cutting it a little short, but it was still fun to get a little bit of additional story into my album with this prompt. And I'm happy to see that these kits are starting to come with more prompt-based cards. I tend to shy away from those in the past, and I really think that I want to make an effort to use them a bit more. So this card says current pieces of the story. So I'm journaling a bit. I'm going to include 2 separate paragraphs, one about, how busy I have been, and then one about how my daughter has been super busy, and just kind of the parallels between those. I pulled over those puffy stickers there for my stash to include on one of the cards, and I ended up not using them. So I just wanted to make note of that. That's why those are sitting there. And then I'm just going through and putting everything in the pockets and calling the spread done. Like, there really wasn't much extra to do. It was a very simple spread, and I love sometimes being able to do this to get these stories told and in the album. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments down below. Thanks for being here. Bye.